Hello Rebel and welcome back to my life. I find myself thinking about the truth a lot these days. I feel like a really terrifying idea has become prevalent in society, and that's that the truth is some mysterious thing that we can't actually know. We hear about Facebook bubbles where people only hear things that agree with what they already believe, and fake news stories get spread around and can't be disproven. There's so much information flying around that it can be overwhelming and confusing, and we don't know what to believe. I think there's undeniably a problem in the media, no doubt, but I think that there's a more fundamental problem in how we search for the truth. Very few people go to the source of the information to find out about it for themselves. They usually only hear the opinions of others. Watching most news programs and reading most news sites means just hearing somebody's interpretation of something that happened and maybe seeing an out-of-context video clip. I have had many close friends and family wildly criticize a particular piece of Hillary Clinton's policy platform. Most of the people I talked to about it, however, never actually read the policy. They only heard somebody else's opinion and interpretation of it. And absolutely none of them had read Donald Trump's policy on the exact same subject and realized that it was as bad or worse than hers. Meanwhile, I had several people tell me to my face that Trump never supported a national Muslim registry and absolutely would not require Muslims to wear identifying badges identifying them as Muslims. Of course, they found me a little bit hard to convince because I saw Donald Trump on camera say he was in favor of the registry and he would not rule out an identifying badge. I read the entire policy platforms of Clinton and Trump. I watched every single debate. I watched many of their rallies beginning to end. I read every one of Hillary Clinton's emails that was leaked. I often get accused of believing everything that the liberal media tells me, but the funny thing is, I don't actually watch the media, liberal or otherwise. Listen, people are entitled to their own opinions, but they are not entitled to spout lies and misinformation and then get offended when I tell them that they are lying. And also, it's not my job or obligation to educate anyone. Many people have asked me when I've brought up this subject, well, if you know the facts, then why don't you tell people about them? First of all, I do. I've spent many fruitless, pointless hours trying to do exactly that. Second of all, you can't get a clean fact from me any more than you can get it from any news source. It is your job to look at the source of information and determine facts from that. That's for my real life friends, but it applies to the internet too. If you watch my videos, I assume that you want to know my opinion on certain things, and I'm happy to give you that opinion. But I hope that you don't take what I say as the unvarnished truth. It is your job, just like it's mine, to look at the source information and determine the truth for yourself. I've been cutting some people out of my life recently. Do I think that they are inherently bad people? No. Do I think they hate me? No. But if their actions have been to spread lies and misinformation and to hold on to opinions even in the face of contrary facts, they're just not somebody that I want to have around me. No amount of facts will convince them to cast aside their prejudices, and I know because I've tried. And if they'll commit a harmful act based on false information about other people, what can I expect them to do when they hear false information about me? This is not a hypothetical scenario, by the way. Somebody I used to consider a friend began to spread lies about me. Fortunately, two of the first people to hear it were the sort of people to evaluate data in a sane way. They came to me, I confronted the person who had done the lying, and the situation seemed to be resolved. Now, you might expect, and I certainly did expect, that the person would change their behavior and start dealing more in the truth and not lies and opinion. But they didn't. And if that's the case now, what's it going to be like as my author career continues to grow, and as I start making films again and my public profile increases? We should all seek to live with the truth, because those who don't are at the worst bad influences, and at most, they can actually be dangerous. I'm not going to keep people around me who either invent lies and misinformation or spread it without even checking to see if it's true. Maybe some truths out there can't be known, like what happened to Amelia Earhart. But when the facts are right there to be seen and somebody won't even look, especially when the subject is so important, they're not somebody I consider safe to have around. You can know the truth. And as citizens of this planet, when what we do can affect so many other people, it's kind of our job. That's it for today, Rebel. If you're new here, feel free to check out my Patreon. My supporters get all kinds of extra bonuses like secret videos that no one else gets to see. Thank you so much for watching. I will see my patrons tomorrow and the rest of you on Monday. Bye!